YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. And last night, the NFL Top 100 list, Top 100 players of 2020, started on NFL Network. They actually went from 100 to 71. And let me just say, this list is absolutely terrible. It's just terrible. But we're going to break it down, give you my thoughts, and we're actually going to compare their ranks, 100 to 71, to where I rank those players that made the list so far. So we kind of get to compare. Very important here. Very important. Hopefully everyone's listening. My rankings are from 2019. So at the end of 2019 season, I made my top 100 list, and it was based on that season only. That's the way my top 100 list was made at the end of the season. And the top 100 list of NFL Network here, I don't know if it's every year. I can't really tell if it's based on last season, which it kind of feels like it is, but then there's players thrown in there that makes no sense then, so I think it's kind of a mixture, like in general, like based on their career, and then a mixture of last year's performance. So we're comparing their ranks to my ranks. My ranks are based on 2019 season. Hopefully everyone understands that. 60K, that's our subscriber goal by week 1 of the NFL. So please subscribe to both of our channels. Would really appreciate the support. And follow our Twitter and our podcast. That Twitter, we're always talking football. There's probably more content on there than there is on our YouTube, so I think it's a must follow there. Link in the description and in the comments for anything that you may need there, like the Twitter, the podcast, whatever it may be. You'll find it down there of any video. So as we see here on the left, we're starting at 100 going down. That is NFL Network's top 100 list ranking. So Levante David's number 100. And you see on the right side, those are my rankings based off last season alone. So Levante David, the Tambay Buccaneers linebacker, was ranked at number 100, while I ranked him at 64 last year. Last year was his first year playing inside linebacker, and it says outside linebacker next to his name there, and that's from NFL Network's graphics or NFL.com's graphics. But yeah, first year playing inside, they switched to a 3-4. I thought he was lights out first year there. I can see him continuing to get better, actually improving, even though he's somewhat of a veteran. So, but based on last year, I ranked him at 64, and they ranked him at 100. So that is a pretty big difference there. Pretty big difference, but I guess nothing ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know. Having him at 100 compared to some of these other players ranked ahead of him, I don't really agree with it. Actually, I think it goes without saying with seeing my rank. But number 99 was Darren Waller. I had him at 90, so pretty darn close there. So I guess I was a little higher on Waller based on last season alone. Brandon Brooks, a little bit of a difference there. They ranked him at 98. I have him at 79. I think one of the better guards in football, and he's going to be out for the season this year, so unfortunate, already a major injury before the season started. So that does kind of tell me that maybe it is based on last year, some sort of the past in general maybe, because he's not playing this year. So they ranked him 98. I got 79. Buda Baker's getting better and better. Very productive year. He just made the cut for NFL Network there, 97. I did not rank him. Another thing I always tell people when I make my rankings is 100 seems like a pretty big number, but it's not. It is very tough narrowing it down to 100 players. And when you actually sit down and make the list and you start to realize who you're leaving off, but you pretty much have to because you can't go over 100. You're making a 100 list here. It's a very small number compared to how many players are actually very good in the NFL. So Buda Baker missed the cut. Chris Carson I like a lot. I like Chris Carson. He's so important to that team. Missed games down the stretch that saw that. Maybe that was the difference there. I didn't go too crazy with running backs. But I like Chris Carson probably as a top 100 player in general. I think last year missing some games down the stretch and having some fumbles that I don't think will keep up. I think that's probably what kept him off my list. But I really like Chris Carson. If it's a list on this year or kind of going forward, I probably have him higher than 96. But I did not have him ranked, and they had him at 96. But we're at the parts down here where you almost expect there to be – it's some borderline guys, so you almost expect it that some people have him not ranked, and you see them having barely ranked. Frank Clark at 95, not ranked for me. I thought he was very, very impactful down the stretch. You saw the impact. So I think in general, maybe for this year, yeah, probably ranked. Based on last year, he just missed the cut. Jason Kelsey, they ranked at 94. I ranked at 55. I thought – clearly the best center. Maybe Ryan Jensen played like the best center last year, but Kelsey right there with them, and And no, I still think Kelsey was the best center, obviously, and I think the best center in general. So I was quite a bit higher on Jason Kelsey there, 94 versus 55. Allen Robinson was one of the guys that just missed the cut for me. And based on episode 1 here, or 3, they showed 3 last night. They are going crazy with the receivers, so that is the difference here. They might have a triple amount of receivers, triple the amount of receivers that I'm going to have. So if they were going to include and value that position that much, then yes, Allen Robinson definitely belongs on the list. I did not. I think they're going to leave out some offensive linemen, maybe some defensive players where I put in there. So that's the difference. If you're going to rank that many receivers, okay, Allen Robinson definitely belongs on the list. I didn't rank a whole bunch. So they're showing they're putting a lot of receivers in there, it looks like, and we'll talk about. We're going to talk about some more here in a little bit, but I didn't rank him, but he might have been, that next couple guys, and that was with me not ranking a whole bunch of receivers. Receivers, very important position in today's high-powered, high-passing offenses. I don't know if it's an extremely hard position to play. Obviously, you appreciate the great ones, but I don't know. I just didn't make the cut for me. I didn't rank a whole bunch of receivers. Darius Slay, I didn't rank. Another one that probably just missed the cut. Number 92, obviously one of the top corners in football still. Didn't make the cut for me. Grady Jarrett ranked 91 for them. And again, I can't stress this enough. Hopefully people are listening. My rankings were based off last season alone. Nothing else went into it. If he played great 2 years ago, 5 years ago, it didn't matter. It was, when I say it was on one season, last season, I mean it. Grady Jarrett was dominant last season, but a big factor was he carried that Falcons defense. So him being that good, productive, but him carrying that Falcons defense big time, that went into putting him at number 23, all of that. So number 91, this tells me, is this based off last year alone, or is it, based off a mixture of years? What is it? I always have that question for NFL Network's Top 100, and I've been kind of questioning it big time in the past because there was years ago where they kind of hinted at that it was based on the previous year, but then they went ahead and ranked J.J. Watt, who played like 2 games that year. I can't tell you exactly what year it was, but I remember this, and he played about 2 games, and they ranked him in the top 10. So they very much contradicted themselves, and that's where I kind of didn't really care where these lists, what these lists told us, But it's very interesting to see where they were ranked and where I ranked them this past year. But a huge difference there. Grady Jarrett was 23 for me based on last season. Moving on, they ranked Kyler Murray at 90. I didn't rank him. I think he'll be very productive this year, so he could definitely make the list on my ranking. I talked about receivers. They're going to go receiver crazy. I did not, and they are definitely going to go quarterback crazy. We can see here on this list, and I did not. I'm not giving bonus points to certain positions. I just rank, the top 100 players I thought in that year based on what I watched. So I did not rank Kyler Murray. Pretty crazy that, I think they said that. We'll talk about it in a little bit. Something about rookies we'll talk about in a little bit. But not ranked there. Cooper Kupp started the year off very strong. Very, very strong. Early year. I thought he was one of the better players, offensive players, maybe early in the year. Kind of, very productive still, but didn't stay at that point, which was a lot of maybe too much expectations to think that. He just missed the cut. Again, I didn't go crazy with the receivers, as you can tell. Some very good ones, Allen Robinson, Cooper Kupp, to kind of just miss the list there. For me, 89 for Cooper Kupp. Jalen Smith, 88. I love me some Jalen Smith. He's definitely making a top 100 list in general or going forward for me. Last year, I thought, even a very good player, I thought maybe a little off his game. Maybe not top 100. He did have to carry the load for, I was about to say the linebackers, but for the defense a lot. He did have to do a bit of carrying. Definitely not as good of a season the year before, so my rankings being only off that one season, 2019, he just missed the cut. Josh Allen, I'm one of the people that think, there's a group of people that Josh Allen, that they think, I don't think he's that good. Those people say, he's still got a lot to see. He can turn the ball over. And there's a group of people that believe in his potential. I'm one of the people that believe in his potential, but I did not rank him in the top 100. I didn't go quarterback crazy. I don't know. I only put the great ones, the ones that definitely like led their team and kind of, because that's what the quarterback's supposed to do, kind of carry their teams at times, and I only ranked those ones. So, the ones that were, definitely at the top, definitely dominant. So, I did not rank Josh Allen. I was surprised to see him on the list. I was kind of surprising. Not that it's like terrible, because I'm very impressed at where he's at already at this point of his career, but it's very surprising. I don't know. Marlon Humphrey, the Ravens corner, they ranked him 86. I ranked him at 59, so a bit of a difference there. I thought he was a lockdown corner for the Ravens, improved every step of the way, and he's going to continue to get better. I expect him, higher on my list the next. We'll see at the end of this year, but I expect him better than 59. So that's where my head's at with Marlon Humphrey. But a big difference there. In the ballpark here with Zach Ertz, they ranked him 85. I ranked him 97. What I liked, I thought Ertz kind of carried the receiving core, I guess, and was pretty clutch down the stretch of the season to kind of help them get into the playoffs. Cameron Hayward, a bit of a difference here. They ranked 84. I ranked 45. Extremely productive from the defensive line. Very productive, I think, part of him. TJ Watt, even though they're different positions, obviously. They're a big reason why, the players in the back end, the secondary, are able to play better than expected. So Cam Hayward, I thought, was more a factor to be high, be higher than 84. We see a huge difference here. Eric Kendricks comes in at 83, the Vikings inside linebacker. I ranked him at 14. Again, it's kind of a mystery on what the NFL Network's Top 100 is based off of. My rankings were based off 2019 alone. That one season, Eric Kendricks to me was hands down the best linebacker in football last year. I ranked him at 14. Dominant run stopper, dominant in coverage as an inside linebacker. The Vikings play a ton of only two linebackers, so those two guys got to cover a lot of ground there. I thought he was absolutely clutch, too. It felt like every single time the Vikings had a third or fourth down stop, an important stop in the game to make, it was Eric Kendricks almost every single time. It was absolutely wild. So based on last year alone, if I were to make a new list in general or based on this next year, he wouldn't be that high. He definitely would be higher than 83. But based on last year alone, I'd have been all the way up at 14. So quite the difference here. And speaking of a difference, Ryan Ramczyk at 82. I had him at 27. So, yeah, I think, basically Kendricks, I can't speak on Hayward because he's been a big name for a while. But Kendricks and Ramczyk, I think they're kind of just getting really good now. Ramczyk's only been in the league for a couple of years, so that would be that. But they're not giant names in their, maybe now they are, but they just became pretty big names. So maybe that's why they're down here, 83, 82. But based on their play last year, I just don't know how they're not higher. Ramczyk I had at 27. I mean, he gave up a pressure or a sack or two last year, not too many pressures. A very consistent, ridiculous year. It felt like once they added him into the unit and to the mix and he got going, the whole offensive line kind of got better, even though it's always been solid for them and consistent. So I thought, yeah, he was pretty low. DK Metcalf, I was surprised to see him on the list. Very impressive rookie year. I mean, to make that much of an impact rookie year with a guy with some injury concern and I guess the 3-cone drill concern, which was ridiculous. More than impressive. I just didn't have him on the list. I didn't go receiver crazy. It looks like they're going to have at least double the receivers that I had. There's Allen Robinson just missed a cut for me. The fact that DK Metcalf's that much higher than Allen Robinson's concerning maybe, but I would have Allen Robinson ahead of him, but neither made the list for me. So bright future for Metcalf, going forward perhaps, yep. There's so many darn good receivers, but for me, the great ones on the year made the list. Last 10 of that episode, Myles Garrett. I didn't rank Myles Garrett. Very dominant player and was looking really good. I guess I factored in what happened maybe a bit, and some people would kind of get mad at me about that. But he killed his team. He killed his team by doing what he did and basically suspending himself. And so I thought he hurt his team, and he kind of hurt his chances of making I think 100 is a small list. I really do. When you sit down and actually try to make it and how many good players are in the NFL. So I thought he really hurt his chances. It's not like one of those situations where it was kind of a fluke injury or something. So for that reason, he didn't make the list. But very talented player. Talent-wise, definitely top 100 going forward, especially. and he would be way better ranked than 80 for me if that was the ranking system for me. But he didn't make the list based off last year. If he would have finished the year, I would guarantee he would have made the list. But 80 for them. Claes Campbell, they ranked at 79. I ranked at 47. Seeing him move, kind of playing the role inside a little more, because we've seen him do both, play on the edge and play inside throughout his career. But having Yannick Ngakoue and then the new pass rusher Josh Allen, they wanted Claes Campbell to play inside a bit more. And the factor that he made, on the field every single week from the inside was absolutely ridiculous. The pressure he was able to bring. I thought he was a lot better the first half of the season, but still obviously good enough the second half of the season, but it was absolutely dominant early in the year. Tyron Smith just missed the cut there for the Cowboys tackle. Obviously, it's a guy in general that you think would make the cut. But again, it was based on 2019, so just missed the cut. Not much of a difference here. They rank Keenan Allen at 77. I rank it 84. I keep saying I didn't go receiver crazy. So if you made the list as a receiver, it's pretty good. I think it's pretty for me, because I think there's a ton of receivers. A lot of them do the same thing. There's nothing unique, and there's other impact players out there other than receivers. So I think that's the reason I didn't have too many. But yeah, so I think that's pretty in the ballpark enough, 77, 84 there. Marshawn Latimer was very shocked he made the list, 76 for them, not ranked for me. The fact that I think Marlon Humphrey was 86, 86 on this list. Marlon Humphrey, Marshawn Latimer, 76. There is a giant difference in talent there, especially last year. So I was very surprised to see him on the list and all the way up at 76 and that much ahead of Marlon Humphrey. Earl Thomas didn't make the list for me, but definitely was close. I just don't think he was the same as where he once was, but not too far off. A key addition and a very key piece, very much key piece to the Ravens secondary there. Very good secondary, but 70, it's not really a surprise. 75 there. We're still at the back end of the top 100, so it wouldn't be surprising to see some not ranks versus ranked. Another Ravens guy, Ronnie Stanley, a huge difference here. 74 for them, 19 for me. I thought he was one of the very best tackles, offensive linemen, actually, in football last year. If this is based on last year, I don't know how he can be down at 74. I mean, this guy was a huge reason why this new offense was able to have success. They kind of fit the scheme around guys like Lamar Jackson, Mark Ingram, what best fit their style. And they basically changed up the blocking scheme a bit too. And Ronnie Stanley kind of made it big time, based off that. I think it's a tough scheme to play in too. It's so fast, and there's a lot of just power blocking, straight north and south. And he really had his best year on that, which is crazy impressive. So the fact that he's all the way down at 74 is pretty ridiculous. I had him inside the top 20, as you can see. Fletcher Cox at 73, for me 91. Now this is a kind of a rank, even though it's almost 20 difference. I'm good with it, because this kind of tells me they're not contradicting themselves right now. They're staying kind of true that this is based on last year. Because Fletcher Cox in general is well above both my rank and their rank in general. Based on what he's done, based on what he can do. But the reason he's down for 73 for them, 91 for me, is because, still a very good year, top 100 worthy, that's great, but a little bit off year for a guy that we could expect possibly elite football from. So I like that we're kind of close in the rankings here for that. That kind of makes sense. Josh Jacobs, ranked 72 for them, 95 for me. I didn't go crazy with the running backs. I didn't put the rookie too high, but it's not too. I don't consider that too far off there. I think missing some games there, which they were playing it safe. They didn't want to jeopardize his future just in the first year when they weren't going to make the playoffs. So smart. But I think missing some games kind of pushed them down maybe at the back end. But for me, there's so many players that it feels like there's more than 100 players that are worthy of the top 100. It sounds ridiculous, but it feels like that. Again, it feels like when you're actually making the list, 100 is not a big number, even though it sounds like it. It really doesn't. So when guys are missing some games here and there, or missing even a game, that could be enough. Just enough to slide one of those other guys deserving in, and this guy that's deserving out. So the fact that Josh Jacobs Jacob still made my list, I think says how highly I think of him. Interesting one here, real close. Just missed here. Just missed. Jarrell Casey, 71 for NFL Network and number 70 for me. So last year I think we had Mike Evans matchup, if I remember the only one. I think we had Mike Evans. I think it was Mike Evans. Same exact rank for mine and for NFL Network's. First episode here, even though we went from 100 to 71, we're so close, one away. Jarrell Casey was number 71 for them, 70 for me. So you love to see that. Even though in general I dislike these episodes as the rankings very much. I disagree with a lot of them, but it's good to see that we're very close here. Jarrell Casey he's more of the impact factor for the Tennessee Titans last year. Now in the Denver Broncos, the Titans didn't have too much of pass rush. Harold Landry really improved. The young, Harold Landry in what was the second year. So that was definitely impressive to see. But there were some times where they really need somebody to get in there and get some pressure. You don't even need sacks. You need some pressure. And I thought it was kind of on Jarrell Casey's back, on his shoulders quite a bit, and he was able to produce. I think he kind of did it at the, he kind of made those, created that pressure at big moments too. So that's why I'm not a big stats guy, but I don't know what the stats say exactly. I'm sure he was pretty productive, but I think it was more of the presence is why he was 70 on my list and 71 on their list. I think everyone knows that's the type of impact Jarrell Casey's going to make there. He's going to be productive too. And the guy's built like a nose tackle, and he's able to play kind of on the end, not edge, but end, and get more, do more in terms of getting after the quarterback than you think. So that's always been an impressive thing about him as well. So we'll see what he can bring for the Denver Broncos now because he's switching teams. So that's their list so far compared to my lists. We're going to keep on going with this every single week. And at the end, my favorite part, like we did last year, I'm going to show the guys that I had ranked and where they were ranked that NFL Network left off their list. That's definitely the best part. So I guess the snubs there. So that'll be interesting to see. Let me know your guys' thoughts. I cannot stress enough, if you're looking at my rankings, those are based on one season, 2019. I ranked it right at the end of the season, top 100 of 2019. That video is on the channel. I can actually put that down in the comments as well, so if you want to check that out. But it'll be cool to see, kind of compare every single week. So let me know your thoughts. Please smash that like button. Subscribe to both of our channels. Check out that Twitter. All that would be much appreciated. Thank you very much for watching this video. That's going to do it. Goodbye.